Hey, what's up to everybody out there? Welcome to another edition of the Roundtable Talk. I'm your host, C Money, and in this episode, we are discussing last night's presidential debate. I wanted to do a special episode on that because I watched it and it's a lot of things I want to discuss on it. Why I'm here in beautiful Shabundi Park, which is in the city of Opalaka. Opalaka is a little small city in the city of Miami, in the county of Miami-Dade. I grew up in Opalaka, and I decided I wanted to come here to do this show because this is the part that I went to as a little kid, and I already come out here because I don't live in the area anymore, but I just want to pay homage. This is also a park where they're doing COVID-19 testing. Right now, I passed by the COVID-19 testing. There are nobody there getting tested. I guess because there's not too many people that are out here getting tested since the cases are going down and we are in phase 3 and in South Florida, so that's a good sign. But they still do have it set up for COVID-19 testing because of the fact that it's the only COVID-19 testing in the city of Opalaka, but it is one of the few in the county of Miami-Dade. Last night, if you're pertaining, today is October 23rd. Last night, Thursday, October 22nd was the last and final presidential debate. Let me take this off for a minute. The last and final presidential debate of Donald Trump and President Joe Biden. I watched the presidential debate and it was kind of interesting for me. First off, I want to say it was a nice hour and a half presidential debate. The thing that really got to me, and I was posting through my social medias, saying platform on how I felt about the whole debate. It seems like Trump was kind of had a attitude last night because of all of what Joe Biden was saying towards him, and it was like, okay, yeah, it is what it is. Trump didn't like basically what Joe Biden was talking and the conversation that the stuff that Joe Biden had to say about President Trump. He didn't like what Joe Biden was saying. Not only that, what I kept getting out of President Trump was, you don't know the time limit. The moderator kept telling each candidate 2 minutes. The 2 minutes. Trump kept going over the 2 minutes, and when she tell him 10 minutes, he'll go. When she tell him 20 seconds or 10 seconds, he'll go over the 10 seconds. He'll go another 5 to 10 seconds over his time. And I'm like, Trump, let the woman speak. Let the woman go into the topic. When they tell you a 2-minute warning, like a 2-minute, that you have 2 minutes on the mic, you have the floor, 2 minutes on the floor. It's like you have to enforce these things. You can't just go and say, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to do what I want to say and say what I want to say. You kept trying to talk about, this is the thing that got to me, the whole situation. Trump wants to open up everything and say, let's get the economy back up and running. When Joe Biden is trying to say, hey, you still have rising cases in these cities and states. You still have rising cases in certain areas. We can't just open everything back up. What we can do is open it up safely and open it up to where we can get businesses back up and running, but in a safe way. And President Trump's talking about, oh no, these people are losing jobs. These people is out of money. These people is businesses are dying. We can't let these businesses die. We need to open back up. What I think about that, I reside with Joe Biden. If you just open the movie theaters completely back up, if you just open the restaurants completely back up, if you just open the bars and the nightclubs completely back up, without social distancing, without doing nothing, and let the businesses go and back open normally, then you're going to see another spike in the cases, and then that's what President Trump is not trying to see. We want businesses to open back up. I see now there are a lot of struggling businesses out there. A lot of these businesses, like I told you in the previous episodes and the previous shows we did, a lot of businesses are hurting due to COVID-19. A lot of these businesses had to shut down because they can't stay afloat. Look at these, like I was saying, look at these buffet restaurants, like Chinese buffets and restaurants that do buffets a la carte, where you just go up to the table, get your food in these buffet restaurants. They can't stay afloat because you can't have, and I stated this in the last episode. They can't stay afloat because you have a lot of these restaurants that you can't have somebody who, regardless if you temperature check them, before they come in, they may have the symptoms. And a lot of these people is not going to tell you, I have the symptoms. They tell you when you come in to these businesses and stuff, if you have signs or the symptoms of COVID-19, you should not enter. And a lot of these people don't know if they have the symptoms. And a lot of these people, even if they do have the symptoms, they still going to go in there and shop in these grocery stores. They still going to go in there and eat in these restaurants. So you can't have these, these restaurants, these buffet restaurants opening up, knowing that these cases are still rising in certain states. They may be low cases, or the cases may be going down in South Florida or in Florida, period, but you have Philadelphia, New York, California, Mississippi, Arizona, Washington. You have all of these cities, even though some of these cities may not be experiencing, spikes, but you got a lot of cities that are in a lot of states that are still have high cases of coronavirus and they're still shutting down. You trying to get the businesses back up and running, but Joe Biden is trying to say, hey, we want the businesses to not hurt. We want the businesses not to, close down, but we want them to be safe. We don't want nobody going into a restaurant and contracting COVID-19 because, number one, they can sue the business and they can also sue the government. So you don't want that on your hand. I agree with what Joe Biden said last night, that we are trying to get everybody back up and running safely. We don't just want to open back up to everybody and let everybody run amok. You want to open it safely. A friend of mine I talked to earlier, which is also a coworker of mine, saying that the NBA wants to start back in January, but I agree that they should start back in January. They just have to do safety protocols between now and January. It is October. You have 3 months to get everything in place, for protocols, and I was like, yeah, that's a good thing. A lot of these people are taking their time to reopen because they want to make sure that they've been, just like a lot of these strip clubs. A lot of these strip clubs used to be open till 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Now they only open to 10, 11 o'clock at night because they can't stay open all night. Number one, a lot of these cities and states have curfews, and not only that, they have to ensure the safety of their customers. So you have to look at it from what Joe Biden is trying to say. He is trying to say that he wants to open the economy back up, but he wants to open safely. I'm not going to fully open McDonald's, and have 30 and 40 people in McDonald's eating food when you're supposed to be social distancing. I'm not going to open up Denny's or IHOP or a lot of these nice, sit-down restaurants or Cheesecake Factory. Open up capacity when you know that the coronavirus is still out here. Yes, they have clinical research and businesses that are doing research studies on these vaccines and and doing trial researches for people who are testing these vaccines. But then that's not to say that the vaccine is going to be available to us within the next couple of months. They say it takes up to a year for the vaccine to come out. So what President Trump was trying to say last night, I felt like really you just want to open everything back up because you see hurting businesses, but you're not worried about the masks and the mandates and stuff. Joe Biden was saying, hey, I want to do a mask mandate. I want to make sure that everybody is wearing a mask. I want to make sure that everything is going up and running smoothly to the point that, there isn't another spike, And then you keep talking about, like Joe Biden was talking about how Trump haven't released his taxes. Trump would never release his taxes. There was an article that went out a couple of months ago, a while back, where Trump released his taxes where he only paid $75 in taxes. And I'm like, Trump is not going to release anything. He's talking about, oh, I'm going to release my taxes. I'm going to release my taxes. But you're not saying when. You're not saying how. You're supposed to release your taxes to know this is what's going down. You're being secretive about what's going on in your personal life. As a president, anything that goes on secretive will come to the light. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, just because you had an affair with somebody, or just because you touched this girl's booty, or just because, you did a shady trade, behind closed doors, that it's not going to come to the light. Somebody will tell, just like all them allegations of you, with these strippers and touching girls' booties and having affairs and stuff like that. Just these allegations, they came to the light, and not saying that they are true or not true, allegedly, but I'm just saying these situations will come to the light. So a lot of this stuff that President Trump is saying, it's like you're not being realistic. The economy is hurting. Look at unemployment. Look at, you know what I'm saying, we're still waiting on the second stimulus. By now, we should have had at least 3 or 4 stimulus packages already. You know what I'm saying? Because look how many people are still out of work, and the tolls are rising. There are people that's been out of work since day one, like myself. I've been out of work since March, mid-March, and I still haven't seen any progress. Now you have people that are now just getting out of work because their businesses are closing down. Some of these people have been working through this pandemic, and now they have to stop working because the business they work for, the company or the job they work for, has closed down. Look, a lot of these people that work for these restaurants and these stores and these clothing stores and these restaurants that's been opening during the pandemic, and then a lot of these restaurants are trying to keep afloat to make money, and then they say, well, we have to close because even with the pandemic, we still not making no money. We're only making delivery money. We're not making regular money as if we letting people in to eat inside the restaurant. We're not making money as if, what I'm saying, we had a full menu. Because a lot of these restaurants, like I told you in the last few episodes, are working limited menu items. Like I told you, I visited Hard White Cafe in Miami, and I also visited Game Time, which is a arcade restaurant, family fun center in Miami. And I told you the online menu is a full menu, but when you go to the actual restaurant, they give you a disposable paper menu, and it's only limited items. You don't get everything that you get on the online menu, and that's what a lot of these companies and a lot of these restaurants are doing. They're limiting their menu items, and it's like they can't keep afloat because a lot of these people, number one, you got people who are still out of work that can't afford to go out to eat. So with them kind of can't go out to eat, they have to result in applying for food stamps, going to grocery stores and buying grocery food and stuff. And the money that they do get, if they are getting unemployment or if they're getting any type of income coming in, they have to use it to pay their bills. Mortgage, rent, utilities, car note, car insurance. Kids. They have to pay for these things. They don't have to pay for it. Look at what's going on. Trump wants to open up all the schools and wants the schools to open up. But then you got to look at it as if, he don't want the schools to shut down. Just like Governor Ron DeSantis from the state of Florida said he don't want the schools to shut down. Like there was a school in Key Biscayne, which is outskirts of Miami, which is the area home of the Miami Seaquarium. There was a school that shut down because a few kids tested positive. It's called, I think, Master Academy. And it was shut down because a few of the kids tested positive. Ron DeSantis want all the schools to not shut down, even if the cases are growing in students. And I look at it as if, are y'all crazy? A lot of these teachers and a lot of these parents do not feel safe sending their kids out to school when there are still cases out there, when this virus is still, like I told you before, a lot of these businesses I've seen online have closed permanently because they can't afford to stay afloat. Because not only do you have to pay your bills, you also have to pay the people that's on your payroll. Let's say, for instance, a bar. You still have to pay the bar. You still have to pay the bartenders and the waitresses and the waiters that are on your payroll, regardless if they're not working. Just like a restaurant industry, you still have to pay the cashiers. You still have to pay the servers. You still have to pay the waiters, the waitresses. You still have to pay the bartenders, even though they're not working. You still have to pay to have them on your payroll. And a lot of these businesses can't do that. So they have to cut costs by letting go of their workers. And a lot of these businesses still can't keep afloat by cutting their workers up. So they have to shut down their businesses. And Trump is not looking at it as if, yes, even though these businesses are hurting, let's do a plan to keep these businesses afloat. Yeah, you had a PPP plan for these businesses, but the PPP plan still is like, it's still months ago. You may give $10,000 to one business. That's only to keep a business afloat for maybe 2 months, maybe 3. We've been in this pandemic for almost half of a year, 7 to 8 months already. March, April, June, July, August, September, October. That's about 7 to 8 years right there, And you have to realize one thing. This is not going away no time soon. A lot of these people are going to be out of work till next year. Some people are at work about to lose their job. Some people lost their job and can't go back to next year. Some people are looking for jobs and can't get a job because in the field that they are looking for, just like in the restaurant industry, a lot of these cooks and chefs and servers and waiters and cashiers and stuff, That's what they've been doing all their life. You know, if you went to school for culinary and you were a chef and you were a cook, like some of my friends are, it's going to be hard for you to look for a job because a lot of these jobs are going to tell you, hey, well, at the present time, we're not hiring because we're half staffing due to, you know what I'm saying, a decrease in sales, you know. We have to, you know, let go some of our cooks so we can only do, you know, shift the cooks around and stuff. So you have to look at some of these things as if, what can we do to keep America afloat? Joe Biden wants to keep everybody safe, but he wants to open up, but in a safe way. Trump just wants everybody to open up 100% and get everybody up and running so businesses won't stay afloat. But then you have to look at it. Even if you open up everything 100%, it's still going to be a problem because a lot of these people lost their jobs. A lot of these people are looking for jobs. You know what I'm saying? If you say you got fired today and then Trump said we can open up tomorrow, how is this person is going to stay afloat? This person can't go inside of a grocery store or a clothing store and buy clothes when they just lost their job. This person can't go inside of a restaurant and order a filet mignon or a T-bone steak for $30, $40 when they just lost their job a couple of days ago. They're going to need every little money they have to pay their bills and to try to stay afloat till they find another job. And it's going to take you about another month or so because it's not like you get fired today, you got another job tomorrow. It's going to take time to get a job. And especially in this virus and in this pandemic, it's going to be hard to find a job because now everybody's looking as if it's jobs hiring. A lot of these restaurants are closing. A lot of these clothing stores are doing half staff. You got to social distance. You got to do this. You got to do that. So it's a lot of things that is going down that people don't understand. And the president's debate last night, well, it made me a lot of concern. Just like when the one thing that really got to me, and it was like when President Trump said, oh, I have done more for black people than any other president besides Lincoln. And I say, you is racist. Allegedly, your parents, they must say your parents is racist. It was a statement that went out about your mother's, about you in politics. Your parents allegedly, because this is a talk show and I have to say allegedly, are racist. You know, you have to look at it from a point of view. What have you done for the black people? What have you done for us? A lot of these black people are still living, a lot of these people that live in the poor areas, in the ghettos, in the hood, and the urban areas, and the poor areas, and the areas that, you know what I'm saying, the ghettos and the low income areas. A lot of these people are even worse than what it was before. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these people was in 2018, 2017, a lot of these people, I don't know where my next meal coming from. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. Now you got people worried about hell. I don't even much know if I can get up in the morning and do any goddamn thing. I may be out on the street in the next couple of hours. You know? A lot of these people were looking for hope in 2018 and 2017, 2016. Now a lot of these people are looking for a miracle. You know? A lot of these people can't say, oh, I got food stamps, I can feed my kids. Oh, I got a couple of dollars that can, you know what I'm saying, I'm working, I can pay my bills. Now a lot of these people is like, what the hell I'm going to do? You know what I'm saying? Back in the day when you was in a bind and you don't know when your next meal was coming, you don't know how your bills was going to go through, you prayed to God and you did what you had to do and you made do what you did, what you do. Now it's worse. It's like, I don't even know what the hell I'm going to do. I don't even know what is going to happen, you know, because it's even worse than what it is, you know. And that's for the people that live in these low income areas, that live in these, you know what I'm saying, ghettos and hoods and projects and stuff. And now they're looking at it as if it's even worse, you know. And then you're saying, I did more for the blacks. What have you did for the blacks? The only thing that you did that was decent enough for this pandemic is give out the first stimulus, and that ain't even much worked well, because now you still have millions and thousands of Americans who haven't even received the first stimulus. I have a coworker, and I know a few people that haven't received their first stimulus. And then you have people now waiting on the second stimulus because they feel like it's nothing. Unemployment is not doing nothing for somebody. A lot of people still haven't received unemployment because they're going through this back pay, they're going through these problems and situations that they're going on. And then you want to sit up here and say, you did a lot for the black people? Come on, what have you done? You haven't done nothing for me, you haven't done nothing for my coworkers, you haven't done nothing for my friends, you haven't done nothing for my family members. You know, you trying to get rid of Obamacare. And President and Vice President Joe Biden said, this is what's going down. You got people who are testing positive for coronavirus. He said you're going to see at least 200,000 more deaths before the end of the year. And you trying to get rid of Obamacare to the point where when these people get tested positive for this virus, there is not going to be any insurance that's going to help them get cured for this virus. You can get a free testing anywhere in your state and in your city. But to go to the hospital and get care from the hospital, that costs money. They don't have a hospital act that says anybody who gets tested positive for coronavirus get free hospital care. You still have to pay those hospital bills. Yeah, you could be tested positive for coronavirus at any testing site. You know what I'm saying? You can get a testing at any coronavirus testing site for free. And if you test positive and start feeling the symptoms and have to go to the hospital is you're gonna have to pay those bills. And that's what Trump don't realize. Some of these people are relying on these healthcare, Obamacare, and these insurance. Obamacare and these insurance acts and all that stuff to help them get through a situation. So now you want to sit up here and say you want to get rid of it? What are these people gonna do? There's still people that out there that don't have health insurance because they can't even afford Obamacare. Even though Obamacare did do a lot and it helped a lot of people get low income insurance, but there are people out there that really can't afford it right now, especially at the point where you don't have a job. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got money coming in. You only getting paid $300-400 for unemployment when your rent is $500-600 a month. And then you got kids to feed. You only getting $200 in food stamps. You got 5 and 6 kids to feed. Your rent is $1,000. You only getting $300-400. You don't have a job. You out here trying to struggle to make ends meet. And then you want to sit up here and get rid of health care. You want to sit up here and get rid of, want to open everything back up so people can get sick again. And I'm like, I look at this a bit. I say Trump, and then every time the lady tell him, the moderator had to keep telling Trump, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. Let's go on to the next subject. Be quiet, be quiet. He keep going on, and I'm like, and I kept saying, shut up, because the fact that you're not listening and you're not doing the protocols to this debate. Last night's debate was supposed to be when whatever president had the mic and had the 2-minute mic. The other president microphone was to be muted. This is the first time that has ever happened because they wanted a actual debate without being interrupted. They wanted the president to talk without being interrupted. It was supposed to be 3 presidential debates. One of them was supposed to be here in Miami, but due to the fact that President Trump got tested for the coronavirus and tested positive for the virus, and that the Congress and officials wanted it to be a virtual debate, he declined wanting to do the second presidential debate. So last night's debate actually became the second presidential debate, which was supposed to be the third presidential debate. But he declined the second debate because they wanted it to be a virtual debate due to the fact that Donald Trump had tested positive for coronavirus. But I knew it was something going on because if you watched at the beginning of the presidential debate, Donald Trump came out without a mask. Joe Biden came out with his mask but took it off when he got to the podium. Why would you come out to a debate without a mask? You didn't even have the mask on in your hand. Donald Trump did not have a mask in his hand or did not have a mask on. When Joe Biden came out, Joe Biden had the mask on. Took off the mask at the podium, and then throughout the night he kept waving the mask in his hand, making points about we need to have mask reform. We need to have it where we need to have a mask mandate and everything, And then he kept going on about President Biden, Trump kept going on about how he wanted to defund the police, how he wanted to defund this and defund that. Biden didn't say he wanted to defund the police. Biden said he just wanted to have a reform to go around, and have a police reform. He wanted to go around and make sure that we don't have anybody in the police department that, that is not out here trying to, we still have people out here getting killed and shot by policemen, racism still exists, and then you want to sit up here and talk about how he's not defunding any departments. He just want to go into these departments to make sure that the people who are supposed to be here to protect and serve us is really doing that instead of killing us. Look at Breonna Taylor. Look at, you know what I'm saying, Aubrey, Abraham Aubrey. Look at, all these other people. Look at George Floyd. Look at all these people that got killed by policemen. And then you want to sit up here and stuff. Joe Biden says yes. He believed that people should protest, peaceful protest. Yes, he did say that people who do protest in the wrongful way should be punished, which I agree. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to go blow up a supermarket, go blow up a restaurant, go break into a store and steal everything and break windows and down and catch fires and break windows and cars and stuff just to get your point across. You need to do peaceful demonstrations, and that's what Joe Biden wants. He wants this do. And President Trump say, "Oh, I don't care." You know what I'm saying? Everybody can open up when they want to open up. I don't care. The government has the right to do things, and he is leaving everything up to city officials and governors and mayors. He's leaving everything up to officials. But as a president, you need to sit up and say, "Hey, we need to have it where it is required for anybody in any city or state to wear a mask when you step outside your door. It is required that every citizen have at least one bottle of hand sanitizer on them. It is required that you have to stay 6 feet apart and social distance." Like I told you in my last episode when I took a trip to Universal Studios this past and a couple of weeks ago, there was no social distancing at any of the theme parks. You know what I'm saying? In Harry Potter Land, I have my hand sanitizer. At the Harry Potter Land, you know what I'm saying, it was basically no social distancing. Everybody was out there just bumping into each other and things were just happening. Well, it was just like, hey, where's the social distancing? You have nobody. All you had was people walking around. All you had was people worrying about you having a mask on. But you're not having people walking around saying, hey, you must stay 6 feet apart. You must social distance. So it's like, how are you sitting up here not enforcing the rules as a president? Because you're not walking into this establishment, you have your mask off. That's why you and your wife and your officials from your government officials tested positive, because you're not walking around with these masks. You're going to these presidential debates. They even had a commercial where they said at some of his rallies, you see people in his rallies not wearing masks. You see people in his rallies not social distancing. But then again, every time Vice President Joe Biden got on TV or did a commercial or did a rally, Joe Biden rarely did any rallies for the presidential debate. You know what I'm saying? And when he did do the very few rallies, he did social distancing rallies with him, Kamala Harris, or he did it personally or one-on-one. And whenever he did a commercial or ever he did a rally or and stuff, he always had on a mask. Every time you see him walk on stage at any debate or any, rally or any little, place he went to, he had on a mask. Every time you see President Trump, he don't have on a mask. He only had on a mask when he tested positive. That's letting you know you don't care about the economy. You don't care about this virus. You don't care about what's going on with everybody. You just care about trying to get yourself reelected. Oh, you're going to hurt the economy. Oh, because he feel like, oh, you're going to make the businesses pay in taxes and stuff. Joe Biden wants people who doesn't pay, who lives in poverty. People who makes under $400,000 a year. He wants them to not pay higher pay taxes. Yeah, President Trump, a lot of these businesses like, oh, well, my business is going to hurt because Joe Biden is going to make me pay a higher tax. No, it's that he's trying to give these low-income people, people who flip burgers at Burger King for a living, people who, cook chicken at Kentucky Fried Chicken, people who works as a waiter at Cheesecake Factory, or people who's a bartender at a bar. These are people that got to pay higher taxes. But the big businesses like Microsoft and Amazon and all these big corporations, they get the tax cuts. Yeah, they get tax cuts, but what about the workers that work for them? And now there's a thing about they talked about the minimum wage. The minimum wage is going up. They want the minimum wage to raise to $15, and Donald Trump said it's impossible. It's impossible to do that because you have areas that don't need it. Just like now in Miami, they want to raise the minimum wage to $15 within the next couple of years. I agree, it should be raised because right now, Miami is just like New York. The cost of living keeps going up while the minimum wage is what, maybe $8 to $9 now, and it's like, how can you pay your bills when you keep building these high rises that's $1,000 a month when you only make $8-9 an hour? Not only you got a family to feed, if you got other bills and stuff like that, and then it's like you're not looking at the facts. And he talking about, oh, certain states. Yeah, it may be certain areas like little small countries like Savannah or Albany or little country towns, you know what I'm saying, little country cities, you know what I'm saying, that may not meet the $15 minimum wage. But you got to look at these big cities like Miami, Atlanta, California, these big cities, Orlando, these big cities where these people are still under a regular $9 minimum wage when they paying all this money and they living from paycheck to paycheck. And these people got to work 2 and 3 jobs just to make their pay. When at $15 an hour, you can work at one job, and you talking about, oh, it's gonna hurt businesses. It's not gonna hurt businesses. If you know how to do things right, if you know how to plan things right, it shouldn't have to hurt these businesses. It shouldn't have to hurt these businesses. And it's a real deal. And it's a real thing. I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna come back. We're gonna do part 2 of this session because there's more I want to talk about and there's more things I want to do. This is the Roundtable Talk. I am your host, C Money. This is part 1 of the presidential debate episode, and I'll see you in a minute.